Ladies and gentlemen, the 1970s was rife with racial intolerance of sport athletes, and it touched a whole bunch of people, including the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, at the time, uh, Terry Bradshaw, who was considered one of the greatest young players to come in the league in years, was up against a black quarterback to be the main starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Although both were great pivots. And even though Terry Bradshaw was hated by Chuck Noll because of his lack of cerebral strength, Joe Gilliam could have been the number one quarterback for Pittsburgh, but he is what he call uh, power style, going deep, passing all the time, put him out of disfavor, and he was own worst enemy. Now, his personal problems were his own. We're going to try to tell you about his on-field exploits and talk about the personal problems as just that. Now, Joseph Willie Gilliam Jr. was a pro football player for numerous teams, but mostly as quarterback with the Pittsburgh Steelers of the NFL during their glory years. Primarily a backup, he started the first 6 games of the 74 season. Now, a very, very strong 6'2", 187. The alumni of Pearl High School in Nashville was born in Charleston, West Virginia on December 29th, 1950. Now, he's the third of 4 children of Ruth and Joe Gilliam Sr. Again, grew up in Nashville and spent many hours at the campus of Texas A&I State University, renamed TSU in 68, where his father was the defensive coordinator for the Tigers football team. He displayed his own athletic abilities at a young age, beginning at Washington Junior High School, where he participated in tumbling, track, and basketball. In 66, he became the starting QB at Pearl High School and led the squad where he played in the city's first season of integrated football. While in high school, Gilliam kept close to the Tigers program as a ball boy for home games. Now, while at Tennessee State, he played under legendary coach John Merritt. He was an All-American there his junior and senior seasons. In 1970, the Tigers went 10-0 and played the now-defunct Grantland Rice Bowl in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. In that contest, he passed for 2 touchdowns and ran it for a third as Tennessee State defeated Southwestern Louisiana 26-25. They were named the Black College National Champions. Gilliam's senior season saw a repeat of accolades. He was again named All-American, and the Tigers returned to Baton Rouge. With an 8-1 record, the Tigers faced McNeese State, trailing 16-6. Gilliam threw 2 touchdown passes to John Holland to take a 1916 lead. A third touchdown pass to Ollie Smith clinched a 26-22 victory. Ironic, Gilliam's teammate at Tennessee State was Ed Doodall Jones, one of the legendary players of the Cowboys who were big rivals against the Steelers. Now, when he was selected by the Steelers in the 11th round of the 72 NFL draft, he was the 273rd overall pick, and this was considered a steal. Now, his first NFL game came on November 5th, 72, when he came on in relief of Terry Bradshaw in a blowout win over the Bengals with Pittsburgh's regular backup quarterback Terry Hanratty injured. He made his first regular season start on Monday Night Football during a Week 12 game against the Dolphins on December 3rd, 73. The game was a disaster for Gilliam. He threw just 7 passes, all incomplete, and had 3 of the passes intercepted by Dick Anderson, including one for a pick 6. Prior to the 74 regular season, Steelers head coach Chuck Noll stated that the starting quarterback position was wide open among Terry Bradshaw, Gilliam, and Terry Hanratty. Gilliam outperformed the other 2 in the 74 preseason, and Noll named Gilliam the starting quarterback. Now, this is where the controversy came in. He became the first African-American quarterback to start a season opener after the AFL-NFL merged in 1970. After a 30-0 win in the season opener over Baltimore, he was featured on the cover of Sports Illustrated. So at that time, ladies and gentlemen, the CFL was starting to get black quarterbacks as the leading quarterbacks in the league, and maybe that Noll was kind of inspired by that, because the wide open style these quarterbacks were doing in the CFL, maybe he could turn Gilliam down. Now, although he's 4-1-1 these first 6 games, he was benched in late October for his lackluster performance and ignoring team rules and game plans. And again, he would go and make strange passes, double coverage going deep with no possibility of reception. Now, in particular, Gilliam ran afoul of Chuck Noll for his excessive number of pass plays. During the Week 2 game against Denver, he threw a record 50 passes and almost totally ignored the run game, leading to a 35-35 tie, or as we say in Pittsburgh, ball possession. In Week 3, Gilliam delivered a terrible performance with only 8 completed passes in 31 attempts and 2 picks, leading to the Steelers suffering the humiliation of a home shutout by arch rival Oakland Raiders. After fans began demanding Terry Bradshaw's return, Gilliam was benched. He also received numerous death threats, some of them racially charged. Bradshaw returned as a starter on Monday night in Week 7 and led the team to a win in Super Bowl IX, the first of 4 Super Bowl title wins with him at the helm of the offense. He gave me my job back, Bradshaw told sportscaster James Brown on a February 2000 edition of Real Sport with Brian Gumbel on HBO. It's not like I bet him out. He spent most of the 75 season as a backup to Bradshaw, but was demoted to third-string quarterback behind Hanratty after a poor performance at the end of the season against the LA Rams and missing some team meetings. The 75 season was last on an NFL roster as the squad repeated as champions with a win in Super Bowl X over Dallas. Now, Gilliam felt his demotion was based on racial reasons. In an interview with the Tennessean a year before his death, he said, "I thought if you played well, you got to play. I guess I didn't understand the significance of being a black quarterback at the time." Wide receiver John Stallworth recalled that Gilliam's demotion was due to his poor on-field performance, disobeying Chuck Noll's game plan, who was tight with that plan, and substantive issues, and there was no racial motivation whatsoever on the team's part. Now, let me put this in perspective. At one point, Pittsburgh starters were nearly 70% black, and he was the backup, so you do the math on that. Now, he noted that Noll was completely colorblind as a coach and not racist in any way. Linebacker Andy Russell said that Gilliam was immensely talented as a quarterback, but unable to stay sober and off drugs. When the Steelers waived Gilliam prior to 76 preseason, after he missed a team meeting, he eventually battled heroin, cocaine, and alcohol addiction on and off for the next several years, and even ended up homeless, living in a cardboard box under a bridge for allegedly 2 years. Now, he was arrested in New Orleans in 76 for possession of a gun and cocaine. The New Orleans Saints then signed Gilliam, but he was cut in both 76 and 77, then played with the semi-pro Pittsburgh Wolfpack, but quit in August 78 after just playing in 6 games. He returned to semi-pro in 79 with the Baltimore Eagles in the Atlantic Football Conference, but his season would take a couple of bizarre turns. First, an abortive attempt to jump to the Alabama Vulcans of the American Football Association ended when he borrowed the Vulcans owner's Cadillac and failed to return it. Then after Gilliam went back to Baltimore, he was attacked by 4 men who dragged him out of the parking lot and repeatedly hit him on the head. Gilliam returned to football in 81, playing quarterback for the semi-pro New Orleans Blue Knights of the Dixie Football League. He played with the Blue Lights for 6 seasons while working the docks of New Orleans, loading and unloading barges. Now, in 83, Gilliam attempted to come back in pro football in the United States Football League, but was eventually cut by the Denver Gold, then picked up by the Washington Federals. With the Federals, he played 4 games, starting 2, throwing 5 touchdowns and 10 picks. Gilliam was eventually cut early in training camp in January 84 and retired from the sport for good. In 86, Gilliam was inducted in the American Football Association's Semi-Pro Football Hall of Fame. Now, as it stands right now, he eventually started giving back to football. Gilliam ran a football camp for teens at Tennessee State in Nashville in mid-2000 and eventually earned the nickname Jefferson Street Joe for the boulevard that runs by Tennessee State University in Nashville. This was a term of endearment. Now, a lot of people question why he never went to the CFL. Well, the reason why he never went to the CFL because we were loaded with quality quarterbacks at the time. He couldn't find a spot because you had everybody from Chuck Ely to Warren Moon to J.C. Watts, all these top players. Now, eventually, Gilliam path to recovery didn't work. He died of a cocaine overdose on Christmas Day 2000, shortly after watching an NFL game between the Cowboys and the Tennessee Titans. He was 4 days away from his 50th birthday. Now, Gilliam was sober for 3 years prior to his death and able to attend the final Steelers game at Three Rivers Stadium. Now, Gilliam's daughter is R&B singer Joy, and his ex-son-in-law is rapper Big Gip of the Goody Mob. Now, as it stands right now in 2023, very few people remember Joe Gilliam. And I think the reason why is that Bradshaw, Stallworth, Swan, Lambert, Mean Joe Green, Rocky Blyer, all the, Franco Harris, all the charismatic members of the Steelers, Fuqua, it's weird to look back and think the Steelers without Terry Bradshaw. But just like the Morton and the Staubach in Dallas, Bledsoe and Brady in New England, you have to make a decision. Now, again, were the fans racist against him? Of course, this is Pittsburgh. But was Chuck Noll racist against him? No. I know this for a fact. I read about that. Chuck Noll was getting death threats because he was playing Gilliam. And Noll said basically, he's the best quarterback we got right now. What really killed him, and if you look at the tape and the quarterback controversy top 10 the NFL Network put out, the fact was that Gilliam wanted to call the game his way, wanted to play his way, and you don't do that with Chuck Noll. And Terry Bradshaw had a hard problem with him as well because he was playing Noll's game, but he wasn't playing to the quality or the excellence that Noll wanted him to do. But the results are there. He bet Dallas twice in that 1980s dynasty, 4 out of 6. And the only reason why he lost in 78 or didn't win the Super Bowl, too many injuries. So you do the math on that. So ladies and gentlemen, Joe Gilliam, he has my respect because I saw him play as a young kid, but one of the quickest releases I've ever seen in my life. And you'll see what I mean. You look at the old tape there, the NFL films, like a shotgun. You should have called him Shotgun Joe Gilliam because it was just like a bullet out of a shotgun. Accurate, quick. But the problem was he could throw it, but he couldn't throw it. He threw it one way. Like how Marino would throw the short passes, very heavy. But Joe Gilliam, I would figure the most underrated player in the Patriots in the 1970s because we don't know how good he could have been because if he was turned out a little bit and then the substance issues, he could have been probably the best black quarterback of the 1970s. Maybe not with Pittsburgh, with Baltimore, even Dallas. Dallas could have used him because they were looking for a backup to Staubach, and he got Danny White. So this is the latest, our Vintage NFL podcast. Thanks for listening. Bye.